What's up, everyone? I'm actually standing here with
Josh Zuniga. How you doing, everybody?
and this is one of my best friends and one of my real estate mentors. And he actually doesn't know this, but I'm going to tell him for the first time, make it out very public. And I want to tell you that I really appreciate you.
Oh,
and
man.
that I really appreciate you.
I love
I consider you a great friend. I consider you a mentor, and you're somebody that I look up to in a lot of different aspects of life.
Yeah.
Whether it's real estate, whether it's family, it's business, friendship, whatever it is, like this guy's got all the bases covered. So I just wanted to tell you that.
I really love that, brother. I really appreciate it. It's one thing that I always told you from the beginning. We're not friends. We're family.
We're family. Yes,
we are
he's
family.
right. Yeah,
I don't have friends, guys.
Yeah,
I only have family. When you're in my circle, when you're in my bubble, when I bring you in, it's for life. It's not for a season. It's for life. So
yeah, appreciate that.
Happy for you, brother.
Appreciate
Thanks
that.
so much.
And the reason why I say that is because I want you guys to also really hone in and value the message that he's going to give today. Because today, this interview is going to be a little bit about life, a little bit about real estate, and a little bit about the steps that it takes to reach success.
Okay.
And I would say that Josh is somebody who is pretty successful in his own.
Yeah.
If you guys have been paying attention to my other videos on YouTube or my other videos on Instagram, it doesn't matter if you're watching this, the day it's posted or 2 years from now, I think you're going to relate because we understand that building wealth in real estate is a journey.
Yep.
And Josh has been on that journey for 10 years already.
Yeah, 10 years.
And when I am what Josh was 10 years ago.
Yeah. You're in a great spot, bro. This is the time. This is the time.
And I appreciate that. And Josh has been giving me, tips. I mean, we've known each other for about 6-7 years now.
Since 2018, actually.
Yeah, 2018. So we're moving on to 8 years now.
Yeah,
It's been a long time.
Huh?
And he's given me a lot of value as far as telling me, hey, look, brother, like this is when you need to buy your first property. This is the way you need to do it. This is the way you get your second property.
Yep.
This is the way you set yourself up.
Yep.
And if you guys, like I said, have seen my content on Instagram, you know that I say, hey, look, there are steps to being a millionaire, and anybody in this country can be a millionaire.
Yeah.
But it starts by taking step one. So to kind of get into the interview, the first thing that I would like to ask you is, if somebody's watching this, right, and they're an agent or they're somebody that's looking to invest in real estate, what do you think is the first step that they need to do in order to set themselves up for success to either A, buy their first property, or B, at least know that it's something that is attainable?
One, thank you so much for being here, brother. I really do appreciate that you appreciate me. That means a lot, brother. It honestly does. And I'm super happy for you and your success and your journey. It's beautiful to see what you've done already out of the gates as a new agent is what I've been telling agents, for 10 years. If you want to do it, that's what you got to do. Because it's what I did. You figured out there was the opportunity, you saw the opportunity, and you just hit go, didn't even look the other way, right? But to answer your question, I think first you have to have a mindset around real estate.
Okay.
You can have a short-term strategy or you can have a long-term strategy, okay? So money is built in the short term, wealth is built in the long term, okay? So if you want to have wealth for you and for your family, not for the next 5 years, but for the next 10, 20, and 30 years, you have to figure out what that strategy actually looks like. If you're looking to make some quick money, good. You can be a kick-ass real estate agent and make money. You can do flips and make money. You can do wholesaling and make money. That's just quick cash, right? Eventually, you have to put that cash somewhere, right? If it's just going to go in the bank, you're going to lose it to inflation, or you're going to put it into an asset where it's going to compound and build up interest or equity over time, right?
Yeah.
So a little bit about my background. My family's been involved in real estate for well over 30 years. My parents own a credit reporting agency. My brother's been a lender for 25 plus years. He is now a GC as well. My wife is a real estate agent. My sister-in-law is a real estate agent. So we have all the things.
Yes.
But growing up, I saw my parents actually accumulate wealth by buying real estate. And so I knew at the age of 18, boom, I'm going to do real estate.
I've got to do that.
Yeah, I'm going to do real estate. I'm not even going to go to college. What for? I see the plan. Here's the path. But guess what happened when I turned 18? That was 08. So when 08 happened, I'm like, bro, my 10-year plan just got crushed. It just died right in front of me. So what did I do? I went to college, banged that out, in 4 years. And I always knew that real estate was going to be something that actually, still fell back on. I did corporate world for a couple of years. And then after my first 2 years, I knew my first day walking in was my last day because there was a cap, there was a ceiling, and I figured it out really quick. So I'm not going to rely and put my life in somebody else's hands. I'm going to take life into my own hands. So I became an agent in 2015. And then I went full time, I would say, in 2016. And that's when things just completely changed for me.
Took off.
But I always had a strategy in mind, for actually acquiring real estate. I bought my first property in 2019, I believe. So I needed 2 years of history.
Yes.
As
So
a
you got your money up first.
yeah, I had to get my money up. So, but if you guys are understanding, you guys know taxes. Whenever you start your own business or self-employed, you need 2 years of history for tax returns, and you take a 24-month average.
Yes.
So I was able to acquire my first property, and I got into it for 3.5% down with an FHA loan. I was like, well, I don't just want to buy one property. I want to buy multiple properties. So how do I do that? So I rinsed and repeated a process. Bought my first property. 1 year later, I bought another property. I put a tenant in this one, stayed in there for another year. I put a tenant in the second one, bought another property. I rinse and repeat that process up to 6 properties where I live in my primary residence, right?
Yes.
So here's the beautiful thing about that, guys. Did I know that, COVID was going to happen and we were going to see a 30% appreciation rate in a 2-year time frame? No, I did not.
No.
But here's the beautiful thing about that. The best time to buy real estate is always now. So I always had the wealth strategy. Because of what happened with with the appreciation in each one of our properties, allowed us to become a millionaire net worth at 31 years old. That's cool shit, right? I don't talk about that much. I don't think I've ever even told you that.
Yes.
But when I actually ran out the math, I'm like,
you did.
I did.
Yeah, you did. You said, listen, brother, and this is why he's here. Look, this is why he's doing this interview because we were in the car. You actually don't remember we were in the car and you were telling me all of the stuff that you're saying right now. You're like, look, brother, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. And that was 2 years ago. And man, I'm like, 2 years ago, I should have done this. But it's like you said, the best time to buy was yesterday. The next best time to do it is right now.
Yes.
But to continue to your point, yes, like that game that you're giving right now, you've told me that before.
It makes sense, guys. And nobody says that you have to have 10 properties. If that's your goal, if that's what you want, wonderful. But anybody can manage 2. Anybody can manage 3. Even look at it like this, guys. If you're a first-time home buyer and you get into 1 property and then you have 2, and then you actually buy, like, say your dream home because you're starting a family, you met the girl, you want to have kids. 2 tenants are going to pay for a portion of your mortgage. Now that makes sense. So say your cash flow.
All while still building equity in houses.
Exactly. So here's the beautiful thing about real estate. There's 4 key points that I really want you guys to focus on, okay? 1 is you have loan pay down, meaning that you're not living in the property, your tenant is paying down your loan, okay? 2, you have what's called appreciation, meaning that the value of the home actually goes up over time. Now, remember this, real estate has cycles. So every 3 years, you'll see ebbs and flows in real estate. But every 10-year curve, real estate always goes up.
Always goes up.
Just imagine what the price was of a home 30 years ago. Did it go up? Yeah, it
Imagine
probably
what it's going
doubled.
to be 30 years from now.
Doubled or more, right? This is how wealth is built over time, right? And then you also have what's called cash flow. So if you have a mortgage and your mortgage, you say, is $2,000, but you're charging $2,500, that's $500 of cash flow that goes into your pocket. Now, if you have 2 rentals, that's $1,000 that's going to pay for your third property, which you live in with your wife or your husband and your kids, paying $1,000 to pay down even your mortgage. So they're paying down 3 different mortgages, right? So that makes sense, right? And then you have the 4th one, which is the sleeper, which is called depreciation. So now that while you're considered an investor, now you have the ability to depreciate these 2 assets at a very large number. So all your expenses that go towards it, your interest that you're paying for it, also reduces your active income, whether you're a real estate agent or whether you have a W-2 or 1099 somewhere else. It helps minimize what your tax liability is because now you have 2 investment properties. And you can also get really deep into the weeds and do what's called a cost segregation and do a bonus depreciation schedule on these homes, where sometimes up to 20 or 30%, you can take a depreciation in year 1. So if you have a $100,000 tax bill because boom, you hit it.
You made a lot of money.
You hit $500,000,
Yeah.
Which my accountant told me that one day. He's like, Josh, great job. You made an F ton of money. And I was like, you also an F ton in tax. He's like, that's why I got you, dog. I was like, that's why I got
let's
you.
Let's figure this out.
And what I got to do, I was like, I need you to wipe that clean. So if I didn't have the ability of owning real estate, I wouldn't have had that option. I would have just had to nut up and pay, a 6-figure tax bill, which is like, dude,
that's a lot.
What's the point of me working for all that?
That's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot.
So that's some real good information. Is like going back to it. Number 1, you want to have the right mindset. Do I have a wealth building mindset, or do I just want to make money? Sometimes investing isn't for everybody, right? That's a big understanding that people need to have. If you don't feel comfortable taking the risk, then real estate may not be your thing. But trust me, any investment that you have, there's a risk. If you decide to put it in the stock market, there's a risk. But in fact, you don't even own any of that stock.
Yes.
You're putting it in there and hoping it's going to do well. You don't even own the asset. But I love owning the asset. So that's why I chose.
You can see it, you can touch it, you can feel it.
Everything, it's mine, it's there. That's why I love real estate. So real estate is always going to be a part of my life. We're always going to have some type of portfolio. And then now you just get into like steps and layers to where you start buying multifamily, you start doing your own development.
Yes.
And the world is your oyster at that point in time. In the last 10 years, every single year I learned something new. There is so much to learn when it comes to the game of real estate. Choose what your flavor is and then take that path and then master it and then maybe sprinkle in a little bit of something else.
Well, once you master that, you're going to learn that there's other masters in other areas, right? But once you built wealth and now you got $100, $150, $200,000 and somebody comes to you with an opportunity, you're like, look, you're the master at that. Now I have the funds here. You handle that.
Yes.
You multiply for me and get your piece.
Yes, absolutely. So you what I love about real estate is like you have options. Once you start making money with it, whether you're a real estate agent, you start making some coin, just from being an amazing agent and closing deals. And then you also can do what's called like your flips, like you were talking about, like with your wholesaling, or just from if you decide to sell one year of investments and it went up 100K. Great. You can take that. You can either put that into another business. You can reinvest it into your business. You can do what's called a 1031 exchange and put that into a bigger asset as well.
Defer the money.
Defer your taxes.
Yes. Cool. And look, I told you there was some heat in here, guys.
I hope there was some value there, guys.
I hope you guys are taking notes. I hope you guys are taking notes because that was a lot of game right there.
Yeah.
Perfect. Now I want to transition because at the end of the day, right, that was super great, Josh, but somebody might be watching this and they might have $0 and 0 cents in their bank account. And they have those aspirations and those dreams the same way that I do, the same way that you did at some point, right? And maybe they don't want to be a real estate agent, or maybe they don't have a high paying job. Maybe there's somebody who, is still getting started in life, whether they're young, they're 22, they're 23, they're 24, they're 26, right? And they're watching this video and say, Josh, everything you said was beautiful, but I don't have any money. What are some of the avenues that you think that somebody can take, or what are some of the steps that somebody can take to start setting themselves up for success in order to be able to buy their first property? Because as you know, my job is what I want to do is help others get into a, $150, $180, $200, $250,000 condo, which people can get into as low as, $5,000, $10,000 down. And if you're watching this video, you can save $5,000 or $10,000. So do you have any tips for somebody right now that's kind of in that position?
One, you need to get disciplined, right? If you got no bread in the account, you need to start getting more disciplined, or you need to start creating more value into the marketplace as far as you as an individual to actually start having the ability to start, saving something, right?
Make some money.
If you're going to say, hey, the goal of this year is to buy a house, but you got no money, maybe it's going to be a 12-month goal. So at least you're putting away $1,000 a month, so you can at least have a down payment, for 2027, all right? So get disciplined with your finances. That's the biggest thing. Financial literacy is probably one of the most important things that I want to say to anybody that's new or anybody that's young that wants to have something on the come up. You need to start learning about money, the power of money, and how it actually works. Because if you're not disciplined with your finances, now what's going to happen when you start having assets? Right? You're going to have, some
You're going to be
financial
taking your cash
hardships.
flow money and probably spending it on something else instead of, putting it to use.
Exactly. Start investing it into assets, not liabilities. Don't go buy the watch. Don't go buy the car. Don't take the girl on the dinners or the vacations that you're just trying to show off. You're just trying to take her home. Don't worry about that. Worry about you, right? Worry about your future.
100%.
But one of the things that I can also say is not only to have financial literacy, is you can have a partnership, okay? Bring in somebody that's a partner, so you can actually get into a home with a co-borrower that's a non-occupant, meaning that you guys can both be on the loan. They're going to use the other individual's income primarily to get qualified.
So that'd be mom, dad, grandma, uncle, cousin.
Mom, dad, grandpa. It's got to be a family member. Right? So they come in with a down payment. You're going to be in there as the primary, but you guys are both partnered on the loan and on title, and just have an agreement with us. Hey, help me buy this first home. You come in as a down payment as a partnership, and then in 5 years, if we decide to sell or I can buy you out, I'll give you your piece, I take my piece, and then we move forward. Right? Or if hey, let's rinse and repeat this, because you have a primary residence, now you keep it as a rental property, you do the same thing on the next one, rental property, same one, rental property. So if you don't have the funds, go out there and be resourceful. Find somebody that has it, and then you can create what is called a plan and a strategy in order for you guys to execute that and be very specific on what it actually is. Talk with a lender. Know the particulars on what it actually is to have a non-occupant ownership in this actual property, and they come with a down payment, and then you actually live in it as a primary. You're paying the actual mortgage. Maybe you have a couple tenants in there to help pay that down, whether it's homeboy or homegirl. They can come in and help pay with the mortgage, and you guys are locked in. And instead, when the market is right, buy the next one.
Perfect. And so assuming that they took all those steps, right? and they're like, look, Josh, I saved up, 10,000, 15,000, 5,000, 8,000, whatever it is, and I'm ready to purchase my first property, or my mom is actually going to help me out. What do you think is the actual property or that somebody should be looking for? Like, is there a specific type of floor plans that you think rent better, or specific rooms, or specific bedrooms, anything like that?
Based off of what your market is, every market's different. Here within Phoenix, we don't have that big of a condo market, as you say. But in other major metropolises like, LA, Seattle, New York, Miami, Chicago, they have condos out the wazoo, right?
Yeah.
So here within Arizona, when we look at how the sales history actually work when it comes to like a condominium, you want to make sure you have a minimum of 2-bedroom, 2-bath.
Yeah.
I would like to say at least 1,000 square feet or more, just because you walk in, you're going to see the floor plan, and hopefully it's going to be a split floor plan for those 2 bedrooms, right? So that's what I did. I got a condo in Scottsdale, 2-bedroom, 2-bath. I paid $219,000 for it. It's now worth $400,000, right? And it's 1,100.
And that was in how many years?
2019, so going on 7 years.
Yes, and we're talking about almost 80% appreciation. Now, obviously, we did have COVID to thank for that, but the point was that you were prepared for that moment.
Exactly. You never know when that's going to happen. There might be another COVID. Who knows, right? Within the next 10 to 20 years. But if you're going to get into a condo, I would say 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,000 square feet. Make sure you find it in an area that's, one, affordable for you, but also, two, you see growth.
Yes.
The reason I got mine is because it was going to be a whole new renovation of the area. It's located near PV and PV Mall. It's been completely new renovated. So they got a new Lifetime Fitness going out there. They got a new Whole Foods, all the new best restaurants. So now I'm within less than a mile of that proximity. So that's going to make sure the value of my property continues to always go up. So make sure location, like they always say. You want to be where the growth is at. You don't want to be out in the sticks where nobody's going to be going, because you got 10 years before that property gets there.
And it's going to be tough to rent. Like, you might have a good property, you might have found a good deal right now, and you're gonna be like, hey, look, that home was only $200,000, and yes, it is gonna be more valuable, but you're stuck to that home for 10 years. You're saying, hey, I want to get something that at 12 months from now, 18 months from now, somebody else would also be happy to live here.
Yep. Option number 2 is just something that I did as well, is if you have the ability based on your area, is buy a new build. Buy a new build in the beginning stages of that new community. I'm going to tell you why.
When you say beginning stages, elaborate.
Phase 1. Okay. So like they've just started building the actual houses. Okay. So say you walk into the community, there's 500 homes that they're going to build in phase 1, 2, and 3.
Yes.
You want to make sure that you get into phase 1. All right. Walk through the model, and if it's reasonable enough, pick one of those models. Why? Because people are going to be walking into that model, and they're going to be seeing that one more and visually, so they're more likely to buy one of the models because they can actually see it and walk through it and get a feel for the actual home itself. Buy one of the models, not the model particularly, buy that floor plan, get it on one of those home sites. So guess what? While they're actually trying to make sales on these homes, they're increasing the price probably every couple of weeks, maybe even every month or so.
Yeah.
So your home will actually have forced appreciation. Perfect example. I bought one of our new builds at $250,000. It is now on the market for $400,000. That's $150,000 of appreciation.
Without you doing anything.
I didn't do anything. It was, I just put a tenant in there, and they paid down. I've been paying down the loan for 5 years. It's actually probably the loan is probably around like $230,000 or $225,000 now. So that's close to $200,000 of appreciation that all I did was come in with a down payment. $15,000 at the time. I used part of my commission for it, and now that makes sense. So $15,000 turned to $150,000 to almost $200,000.
Yes.
That's a big win in 5 years, right? So that's investing. That makes a lot more sense, when it comes down to the actual programs that I've used and that I coach not only other agents but also other first-time home buyers. Like, if you have a strategy, let's do this. Buy a new build for this one and get in something, basic. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, open floor plan, 1,500 to 1,800 square feet. Cool. And then when you buy the next one, you usually have to tell the underwriter you're moving for a specific reason. You're relocating for a job, you need a 4th bedroom, you need more square footage, you need a bigger backyard, you need a 3rd-car garage. So you move into that one, and then 1,800 square feet, and move on another one, maybe 2,000 square feet, and you just rinse and repeat until you have figured out, that how many actual rentals you want to have.
Yep. And you don't need a life partner to do this to get started. That's the point. Like, you can be on, your first house, your second house, your third house. I know obviously you got married a few years ago, but when you guys met, you were already
I already had 5 before Sabre and I got married. We already had 5 properties.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And now, you have the power of, hey, you got knowledge, you got some time in the game, and she's getting into real estate. So all of a sudden, your 5 could turn into 10 in a shorter amount of time. Because now you have 2 people's efforts that are kind of going in the same direction.
Exactly.
Look, everything that he said, he made it sound simple. and he made it sound easy. But at the end of the day, real estate investing can be hard. And I know that you mentioned patience.
Yeah.
And that it's a very big thing for you because a lot of people, especially like homeowners, when they're selling a home, right? They put it on the market and they want it to be sold on Monday, but they forget that they were home buyers at some point and they were out and it took them maybe a couple of weeks, a couple of months to kind of find that perfect home, right?
Yeah.
So I want you to elaborate a little bit more about the kind of the mindset that you have to have in real estate and just kind of having a little bit more of that patient mentality.
Yeah, guys, like we were talking about in the beginning, real estate is more of a long-term strategy. And you have to be prepared for the good times, and you also have to be prepared for the bad times. And I'll give you a perfect example. We'll use mine. I told you that I had several rentals. Some of them are in Sun City. So I'll tell you what happened. Like in 2021, the beginning of 2022, things were just on fire.
Yes.
So we were just accumulating properties, and we were flipping them as fast as we could. We had 2 other projects here within Sun City, and then the market flipped overnight. We started the war in Ukraine, in February of 2022. And then in June, we started seeing interest rates go up. And what happened?
Massively.
Boom.
Nobody's buying.
Everybody freaked out. Everybody put everything on hold. Nobody was buying anymore. Interest rates were skyrocketing at that point in time. We saw in a short period of time 11 interest rate hikes or spikes.
Yes.
And 2 of those properties, we had to turn into rental properties. So I was fully invested, not only with a down payment, also with $65,000 plus per 2 of those properties into this home. So I had over $100,000 in each one of these properties, and they were not selling, and they were sitting on the market day after day after day. One of them I had to turn into a short-term rental for a short period of time. And the other 2 we had to turn into long-term rentals, and my money's still locked in there.
Yeah.
Right. And that's just I didn't think that was going to happen so soon, or at least I thought I had enough time. But guess what? I don't want to say that I got caught with my pants down, but I definitely learned, a lesson, for that, right?
Yeah.
So when I say that is like when you have patience, you also have to be prepared for the good times because they will happen, but you have to always be prepared for the black swan or the oh shit moment, okay? And have exit as an exit strategy, all right?
Yeah.
If I'm not able to sell this, can I rent this out?
Yes.
If I'm able to sell this, can I make it a short-term rental?
Yes.
If I'm not able to sell this at this price, what is my exit price to where I don't lose any money? Sometimes, even if you take a small loss, it'll probably save you more money now than if you actually were to carry that loan 2-3 years, and then you have vacancy, in year 1.
Yeah, it's
year
costing
2.
you $6,000-$7,000 over your,
exactly. So
over
then
a short period of time, but you can lose, $1,500, $2,000 a day.
Exactly. So if you lose $5,000 a day just to get rid of the property, but you have vacancy for a year? 2-3 months, 2-3 months, that could be 4, 5, 6 mortgage payments that you have to pay on an annual basis, and you only had to pay $5,000 over here. So thankfully, I was able to have wonderful tenants that got into those properties. I didn't foresee that happening, but I obviously was a man. I'm not saying I took an L, but I definitely had to just have a different form and a different mindset and a different strategy going into that property as far as I exit. And now, because of those learning lessons, every time we do a project, I have to not only have that for my investors, I also have to have that for myself.
Yes.
So that's why we decided to go from flips. We're starting new development now because the margins are a lot bigger. So if anything does happen within the marketplace, we actually have way more insulation, way more margin to actually do a price reduction and actually get rid of the property rather than, we only have 5,000, 10,000, or whatever the case may be based off of your price point.
Perfect. Well, there you guys have it. That pretty much wraps everything up that we have for this video. This is, let's call it part 1, episode 1, because I feel like there's going to be a lot more conversations to be had, especially over the next couple months as I get the dice rolling and I look to get into my first property here this summer, God willing, and just kind of looking at Josh and being like, look, like 10 years from now, if I do the things that Josh said, like I can be in that same position,
Absolutely.
And maybe I can even get there a little bit faster because now I have, his knowledge and his kind of, his errors that he's made. He can be like, hey man, don't go down that road because I already did that.
Yeah.
So I just want to say that I really appreciate you. Thank you for taking your time. All of our information is going to be listed below. If you guys want to reach out to Josh personally and talk about, investing in life and things like that, you're more than welcome to. Obviously, we're both real estate agents. We can both help you. This is not a competition, right? This is all about collaboration. And I do want to also link below. Josh is starting a new program that is for relationships for people that kind of just want to grow more with their partner. And I won't get into any of the details, but I'll link everything below so then you guys can reach out to him or follow him on social media and get more information.
If you guys are looking to invest, buy or sell, make sure you hit up our boy Derek, because not only do you get him, you get me, you get everybody that's going to be on your side to make sure that you have a successful transaction, whether you're looking to buy, sell, invest, or actually invest for the future. We want to make sure that you're going to be well taken care of and you have a wonderful experience.
Perfect. Thank you, brother.
Yep.